Welcome to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Eldridge Air Conditioning. We are into week 4. This is round 4 of our BTCC tribute races. I was going to call it the replica, but I thought I'd just change it around a bit and call it the tribute. So it's BTCC a tribute. And as mentioned, we're at round 4. It has turned out to be a fantastic season, actually. Some brilliant races so far. If you've not seen them, I suggest you go back and have a look. Some brilliant close racing. A couple of things about this one. It's not your average BTCC stuff that we normally do. We've got nitro that's been introduced to this. There's a lot more tweaking with the cars. They keep changing each week, actually. So we'll not go into all of that, shall we? 3 races, 3 20-minute races for you. The grid is made up of, after qualifying for race 1, race 2 is where you finish in race 1, is where you start in race 2, and race 3, it is a reversed grid for the top 8. All gets a little bit confusing, I know, but it'll become clearer when we actually get to the other races. And as mentioned already, that nitro is allowed, but it's not allowed on the first lap. You do only have a limited amount of it as well, so be careful where and when you use it. 2 sets of tyres available, 2 sets of softs and a set of medium tyres available to the guys. They can use them whenever they want in whichever order they like, so we will see some guys on softs, some on mediums. That's about it. Damage is on heavy as well, so if they do pick up damage, they do have to come into the pits if they want to get it repaired. So enough of all of that. Let's have a look down the grid, shall we, and we'll see where everybody is. If I can get my favourite camera, there we go. So Grasshopper puts himself on pole position. It's actually his 4th time on pole position, and he's managed 2 wins out of those 4 poles. So he'll be hoping to make it third, a 3rd win for him. So yeah, Grasshopper on pole. Then Brian Moncani just behind him. Brian, a regular on the podium. 4 times he's actually been there, but only managed 1 win out of those 4. Dan in 3rd, not been on the podium yet, but he clearly has the pace around Catalunya, otherwise he wouldn't be 3rd on the grid, would he? So we'll keep an eye out for Dan, looking to get on the podium for the first time. Wayne G just behind him in the Ford Focus there in 4th. He's a very quick guy. We do know Wayne G is quick. He is another regular on the podium. So again, we'll keep an eye out for him. Thomas, very quick, also in the Focus. I can't get my words out today. Thomas in the Focus in 5th. Another very quick guy. In fact, they're all quick, aren't they, to be honest, on the grid. Unforgiven in 6th in the, is it the Alpha? Hodgie in 7th in the Renault. Then we've got Chris in 8th. Now then, I forgot to write it down again. I've got it somewhere. Never mind. It's the Crown Athlete. There we go. I did say I'd say what this car is, and I did ask the case. It's the Crown Athlete. It's Toyota Crown Athlete. There we go, and that's what Chris is driving. Phaser in 9th. Carlsberg in 10th. Then we've got Hawkeye in 11th. Sai is 12th. Taff is 13th, with Rossi in 14th and Vane in 15th. So I will try and get my teeth put back in and straight, at least the right way around, and we'll get this race underway, shall we? So grid start. Let's get those lights on. Right, now then, let's get the lights out, and then we shall get this race underway. It looked like a bit of a false start there, probably from Chris. A bit of a flash of the lights. Maybe he's got a bit of a problem, I don't know. But a fantastic start for Brian Moncani. Has shot himself into the lead, but Dan has now moved up into 2nd. No, Dan on the inside has got himself in front, so Dan takes us into the first couple of turns. This is the track without the chicane, so it's the quicker of the layouts that we've got here. So Dan now leading. He's got Grasshopper just behind him in 2nd, Brian Moncani in 3rd, as they make their way up to Repsol at turn 4. This tight right-hander. After that brilliant start of Brian's, he finds himself now down in 3rd. Unforgiven in 4th, Hawkeye 5th, Thomas 6th. Then we've got Hodgie, Chris, Carlsberg, Taff, Sy, Rossi, Vane and Fazer. Oh, Fazer, what happened to Fazer? He's had a nightmare start, hasn't he? We've got to go all the way back to the beginning to see what's happened to Fazer. At the end of the straight then, into turn 1. Oh, now then, that was a bit of a bumper kiss, wasn't it? But he didn't go off track. But then Hawkeye just finished him off. Just to make sure of it. So yeah, I'm not sure who the bump was. It was a yellow car, so what was it? It might have been Thomas, I'm not sure, but anyway, poor old Fazer now finds himself all the way down at the back and playing catch up. You can just about see the bunch. I'm hoping they're slowing down for him to enable him to catch up, or if not, he's going to have to hit that nitrous button and make his way up there. He's on the hard tyres, so he's getting them out of the way. On the hard tyres? I thought it was softs and medium. Well, yeah. my rules say it is softs and mediums. So Fazer, I think you've started on the wrong tyres, or Vane. No, they've changed the rules again, so it's hard tyres now. In fact, I give up trying to explain the rules to everybody. Let's just look at the racing, shall we? Rossi on the hard tyres as well, so his Sy's on the mediums, Carlsberg on the hards, Taff on the mediums, Chris is on the mediums, Wayne G on the mediums, Hawkeye also on mediums, Thomas on the mediums, Unforgiven, Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani's on the soft tyres, so somebody's using soft tyres. Grasshopper on the mediums and Dan on the mediums then. So they must have changed the rules again without telling me, so it is now softs, mediums and hard tyres that you have to use. Like I say, I give up. I think they've changed some of the settings for the actual cars as well. Yeah, it is what it is, and we shall just follow the racing, shall we? So Dan then out in front in the little AMG, which to be fair was not a great car last time out, but they must have done some tweaking to it. Grasshopper makes the pass on the straight, but I think the slipstream really kicked in there. Bit of a flick of the old nitrous as well has helped Grasshopper get himself into the lead on those medium tyres. Dan just behind him in medium, so these two looking to pull away from the rest of the pack. Brian Moncani sitting in third. He's got Unforgiven all over him as they come up towards turn 4 at Repsol. It is Unforgiven on the inside of Brian Moncani. It is side by side around that tight right-hander as they head down towards Seat at turn 5. Again, a very tight left-hand, almost hairpin turn. It is Brian Moncani on the inside of Unforgiven, but Unforgiven is fighting back as they come down the hill towards turn 6 and 7 at Worth. It is still Brian Moncani just ahead of Unforgiven as they come up the hill now towards Campus at turn 9. Very easy to pick a penalty up at this point. You can drift too far to the left as Unforgiven just uses every inch of the track that he's allowed to use as he has a look at the inside then at turn 10. That's Unforgiven. Can he get that car slowed down and round that corner? Yes, he can. Just got his nose in front, but Brian Moncani, I'm just going to stay with these two because Brian Moncani is still there with Unforgiven. It is still side by side as they come around the final turn at Blanc Sabadell. I'm not even going to bother trying to say that one again. It's turn 12, and then they come back, at 13 at Europcar, onto turn 14 at Holland, and then back onto the straight. And it is just Brian Moncani in front of Unforgiven. Fantastic battle in between those guys. Thomas sitting there in 5th. He's watching it all unfold in front of him. Hawkeye in 6th. They've spread out a lot already. The guys mid-pack. 7th is Chris. Then Size 8th. Taft 9th. Carlsberg 10th. Fazer 11th. Hodgie 12th, who's making an easy pass there on Fazer with the slipstream and the help of a little bit of nitrous as well. So Hodgie now moves up into 11th in that Renault. Into turn 1 and 2 goes Hodgie, and then it's into this long sweeping right-hander of turn 3 at Renault. Then we've got Rossi in 13th, also in the Renault. Wayne G in 14th. Oh, not a good start for Wayne G, and apologies we missed that, but Wayne G finds himself all the way down in 14th. That is not what he wanted on the medium tyres, although he is having a look at making a move there on Rossi on the inside as they go around turn 4. You can see Vane just sitting there behind in 15th with a half a second penalty as Wayne G makes the move stick on Rossi and moves up into 13th. So Wayne G is going to be looking to try and pick his way through the pack again. 5 minutes gone, and We are on lap 3, or well, we're coming to, well, about halfway through lap 3. Rossi in 14th and Vane at the back in 15th with that, as I say, that half a second penalty, which is just about to serve now. Oh, and it's gone very wide there as well. They'll probably pick up another penalty, actually. Yeah, there we go. And that's turn 9 at Campsa. Can't even read my own writing. Turn 9 anyway. That's where you pick up that penalty there, drifting too far out to the left. So back up to the pointy end then, and Grasshopper still leading Dandan. As they come down the hill, Dandan can't quite get close enough to get into the slipstream of Grasshopper and make the move stick on him. So Dandan just settling it in to P2, Brian Moncani in P3, and then we've got a bit of a gap then. So those three, Brian Moncani managed to catch up to the two in front of him and hold on to their coattails as the gap opens up back to Thomas in 4th. Now we do know Thomas is very quick. He's very good at looking after that nitrous as well. Tends to leave it towards the latter part of the race. Doesn't really need to use it. He's very clever with his nitrous actually. He uses the slipstream well. Doesn't tend to get trigger happy with that nitrous. So he's got a bit left for the end of the race. So we'll look out for him trying to catch up to the guys up at the front. He's got Unforgiven just sitting behind him in that Alpha. Had a bit of a battle earlier on, didn't he? But things have settled down a little bit now as Unforgiven. So in fact, let's go on board with Unforgiven. We've not been on board with anybody just yet, have we? As we go around turn 9 and head towards turn 10. Now then, this is just after turn 12 would have been where the chicane is, but we're not having the chicane this time, so it's a very quick, fast moving track. Around turn 10, through turn 11, over the little bump, into turn 12. A quick look behind us and you can just about see Hawkeye, but he's not close enough to make a move. That's where the chicane would have been, but we don't bother with that. Through turn 13, then into turn 14 at New Holland, and then it is on to this straight, very long straight. It's 1,047 metres from the exit of turn 14 to the entry of turn 1 at ELF or ELF. I think that's named after it. Is it the oil company ELF? I can't remember now. So that's Unforgiven trying to catch up to Thomas. Then we've got Chris battling away in P6 with Hawkeye. Hawkeye all over the back of Chris, putting him under all sorts of pressure. Oh, as Hawkeye goes very, very wide at turn 3. Now then, will he pick a penalty up for that? Chris has managed to open up a bit more of a gap now back to Hawkeye, take the pressure off himself, but Hawkeye got away with that actually. He didn't get a penalty, which is good. Sitting in 7th, but Chris just a bit of a sigh of relief there as he's given a bit of breathing space. Ty in 8th in that Civic, all on his own at the minute, nobody to play with. Then we've got Hodgie. Now then, Hodgie just leading a little group of, it looks like 3 in there. We've got Carlsberg in 10th, we've got Wayne G. He's made his way up into 11th now, so Wayne G making his way through the grid very slowly as he just makes the move on Carlsberg there. We just saw as they went around turn 7 up towards turn 9. Be careful not to pick up any penalties there, boys. You can go onto those curbs, but don't cross them. As Wayne G now chases Hodgie. We're going into turn 10. A quick look in the mirror. Carlsberg's there in that BMW. Oh, and who's that? That's just gone flying off. Just got the braking completely wrong. I didn't quite see who it was. We're going to stay with Wayne though. As we come around turn 12 up towards turn 13 onto the back of Hodgie. Now then, Wayne, we're going to be looking for a good exit out of this final turn onto the straight and then into the slipstream of Hodgie. He'll have a good sniff around the rear end and then he will make his move. There we go. Oh, a bit of a bump there. Not a lot Wayne G could do about that one. He came around the corner and just found a fat ass Renault in his way. Now then, Hodgie, I'm guessing, is hitting that nitrous button because he's pulled away from Wayne G. Wayne G didn't hit the nitrous, he's saving his. Goes very, very wide into open up turn 1. And just sticking behind Hodgie, using the slipstream. we'll have a look and see what nitrous Hodgie's got left. So Wayne G, just over half. Well, Hodgie's got a little bit more, so he's been a bit more conservative with it. But I do think he used it on that straight to pull away from Wayne G. Carlsberg in 11th. He's got Phaser right behind him. Phaser's done well to catch up after that early incident. Let's have a look. Phaser, though, has been using the nitrous just to catch up, but he's had to, hasn't he? Otherwise, he'd have been driving around all on his own at the back. But he's managed to make his way up into 12th and putting Carlsberg under a lot of pressure now. Carlsberg in that BMW should be able to cope speed-wise with Phaser in the Alpha. But it's whether he can cope with the pressure that Fraser's putting on him around these turns. And you can see Wayne G getting right up the chuff of Hodgie up ahead. Taff in 13th, joining this little party of Phaser and Carlsberg. So Taff looking to get involved in that little fight. Again, if he can get a good exit out of the final turn onto the straight and get in the slipstream, maybe force the cars in front of you to use the nitrous. Get it all used up, and then you'll have some left towards the end of the race. Maybe that's what Wayne G's doing with Hodgie. Oh, as Taff goes very, very wide there at turn 14, so let's go. Oh, he's got to picked up a penalty. I thought he would actually. He did go very wide, didn't he? Rossi, he's got a penalty as well. So track limits really being abused by these guys. And then Vane, well, also carrying a penalty as well. So it just seems the guys at the back have all picked up penalties, and that's why they're at the back. Up at the front, well, everybody's got a penalty. Why not? Let's just everybody get a penalty. Grasshopper's got one. He's just about to serve it now. Has got quite a gap though. Back to Brian Moncani. Where's that? What has happened to Dan? Dan was sitting in second, but he's now in third, just behind Brian Moncani. You can just see up ahead, Grasshopper serves his penalty, but I don't think it's going to cost him his track position. All it's going to do is allow Brian Moncani to get a little bit closer. He's also in that Crown Athlete, which has seemed a pretty good car so far, actually. It seemed quite quick in a straight line. Bit of a surprise, looked a bit of a lump, really, but so far it's served Chris and Brian Moncani well in previous races. So Brian sitting in second. Still a decent gap though between Grasshopper and Brian Moncani. Grasshopper on the mediums, Brian Moncani on the soft tyres, and unable to really get any closer to Grasshopper. Dan also on the mediums, but these three really have opened up a big gap. Unforgiven is now in fourth. He managed to get by Thomas, so Unforgiven up into fourth. Thomas not that far behind actually. Let's have a look at the old nitrous situation. You can see that Unforgiven has got his finger on that button and using nitrous all the way down the straight. Thomas not used as much as his, and has managed to get right up close to Unforgiven. Now you would expect that Focus to be a little bit more nimble through these turns, as Thomas looks to put the pressure on Unforgiven. Chris in sixth, still maintaining that gap back to Hawkeye. In fact, I think he's actually made it a little bit bigger, so Chris has managed to open up the gap to Hawkeye. And is he catching on Thomas? I think he is. I think Chris is getting a little bit closer to Thomas. So while Thomas is having this little fight with Unforgiven, Chris is able to creep up to the back of him. So Chris will soon be joining those two and getting involved in their little scrap. Hawkeye sitting in seventh, not really under any pressure. The only pressure he's got is what he's putting on himself. If he can stay on the tarmac and don't pick any penalties up, he should be able to catch up to the guys in front. So in eighth in that Civic, Wayne G with a penalty. Everybody seems to be picking up penalties. So there we go, Wayne G serves his. Again, not cost him any track position though, still sitting in ninth. This is not really what Wayne G's used to. We're used to seeing him up at the front, and I'm sure he's used to being up at the front. So sitting mid-pack, maybe just behind mid-pack, is not what Wayne G is used to. Hodgie in 10th in the Renault, and let's have a look at the time, shall we? We're just approaching the 15-minute mark, so unless they've changed the rules on how long the race is, then we've got about 5 minutes to go. But yeah, they've probably changed that as well. They've changed everything else, why not? Fraser still in 12th with Taft 13th, Rossi in 14th. Not really got to grips with this Renault yet. Struggling a little bit. I thought he might have sort of tamed it by now and got himself up there amongst the leaders. We do know that Rossi is very quick, but he seems to be struggling at the minute. Maybe it's the setup, maybe it's the car, maybe it's the track. We don't know, but Rossi not really making his mark on these races yet, not like we're used to seeing. Same for Vane down in 15th, a long way off the back of the pack. In fact, if anything, he is likely to get lapped by Grasshopper soon. Talking of Grasshopper, out in front, looking very comfortable, hardly anywhere at all on the tyres. Not a lot of nitrous left, but then again he's only got 4 minutes of racing to use, so he can just use that to stay in front. Not that he's got to do much work to do that, because Brian Mulcahy is a little way back yet and has got a rear view mirror full of Dandan. Dandan probably picking up another half-second penalty there. He did go very wide. Yeah, there we go. He did go very wide at turn 13. So Brian Mulcahy will be relieved to see that little red box appear above Dandan's car. But at the minute, this does look like the podium. It looks like it's going to be Grasshopper, Brian Mulcahy and Dandan. Dandan, I'm sure, will be pleased with that. Like I say, he's not been on the podium yet. Grasshopper and Brian Mulcahy are regulars up there, but Dandan, this will be his first time on the podium, so he will be pleased with that. I'm sure he will. Even this half a second penalty is not going to hurt his track position. There is a massive gap back to Unforgiven. Unforgiven in 4th, having a good race is Unforgiven, and most of it against Thomas. Again, we know Thomas is quick, but maybe that focus just is not suiting him. He just, again, just can't quite get to grips with it. It's the same as Wayne G. Maybe the focus is just not the best car out there. Maybe they need to tweak it a little bit more, like they've done everything else. But Thomas sitting in 5th then, all he can do is just follow Unforgiven around this Spanish circuit. Cannot get close enough to make a move on him. He's got a little bit of nitrous. Unforgiven has got nothing, so maybe when Thomas starts hitting that nitrous button, which he will probably do when they get onto the straight. Now that let's have a look, we've only got 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to stick with Thomas just for a second as we come around these final few bends, and Thomas, I suspect, is going to hit that nitrous button. This will be his last lap. Yeah, this is going to be the last lap, so we might as well use it all up now on the straight, trying to catch up to the back of Unforgiven and make the move on him. Let's just have a look. You can see the nitrous down there in the bottom right. There we go. He's only tapped. Yes, he has got his finger on the nitrous, and why not? You need it. Use it all up now, mate. Go for it. Just do it. Press it harder. Well, he's just saved a little bit. Not quite close enough to Unforgiven to make a move. Let's have a look at Chris in 6th. Chris, I don't think he's going to get any closer to Thomas and Unforgiven just ahead, so this may be where Chris is going to finish in 6th, but I guess a good finishing point for race 1. Hawkeye in 7th. He's got Wayne G to deal with. Wayne G on it now, looking to improve. I think really was kind of hoping Wayne G would make his way through the grid a little bit quicker than this, but seems to be struggling here in Catalunya. He did start further down the grid, didn't he? Let's have a look. Where did he start? No, he didn't. He started further up, actually. He started in 4th. What am I on about? He was actually sat at 4th on the grid, but had something we missed. Put him down in 14th. That's what I'm thinking of. That's why he was all the way down at the back. Wendy G went down to about 14th, so I had to fight his way back up to 8th. As we come into the last few seconds of this race, I'm going to go up and see where Grasshopper is as he's coming up to the final turn. It looks like he's going to be lapping Vane as well. Now then, Is Grasshopper going to get another lap in, or is he just going to take his foot off the accelerator? No, he's going to get one more lap in. So Brian Moncani is going to be the first across the line in second. Well done to him. Dandan, a brilliant finish for Dandan to finish third and get himself on the podium and a sip of the old champagne. So well done to him. Unforgiven will finish in fourth. Good racing from him. Thomas fifth, couldn't quite catch up to the back of Unforgiven, could he? Chris will bring it home in sixth. Hawkeye, penalty free, will cross the line in seventh, so good racing from him. Wayne G across the line in eighth. Sai is going to finish in ninth with Hodgie just behind him in 10th. Oh, that could change. Yeah, that's it. Stayed like that. I thought Sai had picked up a penalty then, but Hodgie in 10th. Fazer across the line in 11th. Carlsberg 12th. Taff will take 13th. Rossi is going to cross the line in 14th. Yes, it is. I'm just looking at the map in the top right. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Grasshopper coming around. So Rossi's going to finish in 14th. Not a great race by his standards. So Rossi across the line then with Vane, who has been actually lapped by Grasshopper. So Grasshopper just coming around turn 10. I'm not going to try and pronounce that one. I said I wasn't going to try, and then I tried. So anyway, turn 10, 11 into turn 12. So basically a lap of honour for Grasshopper. A good race, made it look easy in the end, didn't he? So well done to him. And across the line to take the first win of the 3 races. So well done to Grasshopper, and then Vane across the line in 15th. So that was race 1 out of 3 for the BTCC tribute, guys. We will be back very shortly for races 2 and 3, so don't go anywhere, and I shall catch you all soon.